Alright, in this video we're going to talk about the future forms will and going to, and how we apply them and when we apply them. Okay, so there you go. Will versus going to. Alright, so maybe a quick information in the beginning that will help you as an orientation throughout the whole video. Okay, I'll start with going to, and what you should know about going to is that usually when we're using going to for the future or for a future event, we are usually 100% sure that it is going to happen. Okay, so I will talk to you about that in a moment. Okay, what that exactly means. I'm going to show you with some or maybe with some pictures. Okay, here we have will, and will usually is used if we're not so sure if something's going to happen, even if there's a high probability. Let's say if it's 99% sure that it will happen, we use will. Or if it's 10%, okay, we use will. Okay, and sometimes even if we're sure that it will happen, but I will tell you what the difference is between will and going to there. Okay, so let's first talk about going to. Okay, so the first instance when we use going to is going to be when we made a decision. Okay, when you made a decision before, and then you inform someone about what you are going to do. Okay, and I will show you what that means. Here we go. So we're gonna have to cut out some pictures here, but we'll do that together. Just a second. Alright, so there we go. I'll just renew this. A second. Okay. Alright. So imagine a situation where it's the beginning of the year, January, and you want to book your tickets for your summer vacation, or you want to book your vacation now already. Okay, so you're thinking about it now in January or February or whatever month it is before you go on your vacation, and you ask yourself, where shall I go this summer? Okay, so you think about it, you probably look at some prospects, you might ask some friends where if they have any tips or so, and then after that, when you made your decision, very often, not always, but very often, people go to a travel agency. Okay, so they might get some tips on where to go if they're not sure anymore, or maybe they already know it, but then they buy their tickets here. Okay, when they bought their tickets, okay, everything's planned, everything's booked. Okay, and then in a different instance, when you might, let's say, if you meet your friend at some bar, okay, so you meet, I don't know, a friend you haven't seen for a couple of months, okay, and you're catching up on things with each other. You're sitting at the table, you're drinking coffee together, okay, everything's nice, and you're talking about your plans maybe, and then vacation comes up, okay, so she might ask you, where are you going this summer, and you will say, I am going to Cuba this summer. Okay, so why Cuba? Why are you going to Cuba this summer? Or why is it not I will? It's because you already made the decision. Okay, so I'm sorry, that was not good. Okay, I am going to Cuba this summer. You made the decision beforehand. First in January, you thought about it. Then here, you went to the travel agency, and after that, you had everything booked and planned. Okay, so maybe let's just get rid of that. Just a second. There you go. So you can see it. So again, here you thought about it. Okay. That's the first thing. Then you went to the travel agency. You booked and planned everything. And here the decision. Oops, the decision has been made before. Okay. Alright, and your friend's all happy about it. She's like, oh, how nice, you're going for a vacation, where are you going? You're going to Cuba, it's going to be fun. Okay, so, but that's not so important. More important is that you are going to Cuba because you use going to because you made the decision before. Okay. prove this. Okay, so you made the decision before. Okay, so this was one possibility to use going to for the future, or one way we use it. Okay, the other way would be, okay, if we are talking about things which are based on evidence. Okay, if something is clear to us to happen, if you are sure something will happen because you see it as happening, okay, you will use going to. And what that means I will show you here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so in this instance you have two people, maybe it's you and your friend, you're walking in the mountains or somewhere at a lake, next to the lake, alright, and you see some dark clouds pulling up, alright, and they look, it's really dark, okay, maybe it starts winding, it could be that the temperature falls, the moisture goes up or something like that, and you see these black clouds, and this is clear evidence that it will be raining pretty soon, okay, so you tell your friend, or your friend tells you, look at that, it's going to rain, okay, maybe we should do something about it, let's go somewhere. But you use going to, okay, because there is evidence. What is the evidence? This here, the black clouds. Alright, there you go. Okay, then actually the same or a different situation, but it's the same rule, if you want to. You see this pedestrian, he kind of looks scared, okay, it looks like this car here is going to crash into this poor man, okay, the poor man, he looks surprised. I think the car is coming at a certain speed, okay, and he will probably crash into him. And if you're standing on the side of the road with your friend, then you're sure that it will happen because he's driving very fast and he doesn't have anywhere to go anymore. Then you will tell your friend, look, Jim, they are going to crash, okay, so you are sure that it will happen 100%. And boom, he crashes into him. Alright, well, we hope that won't happen, but that will be the other case where you are using going to. Okay. Yeah, that's so much it. Okay. So as you see, most of the time, you know, these things are 100% possible or sure to happen because you're seeing them. Okay. Let's, for example, a lot of people have some problems with going to, like, for example, in this example, okay, I have some of my students, they ask me, okay, but what if the wind changes and the clouds go the other way? They don't come this way to you and your friend, all right? So of course that can happen, right? There's many variables, many possibilities, and there's a good chance that it won't rain, or there might be a chance that it won't rain. But normally we tend to say that it's going to rain. If you're not sure that it will happen, you in this case would use will, okay? And you would say it will rain, or if you're not sure, it probably, oh, this is terrible, just a second. Okay, you say it probably will rain, okay? And you'll see how we use this kind of will, or the will in this way, for the future in a moment, okay? But you're right, so if you're not sure that, or if there's a possibility that it won't rain, and this is your opinion, then you can use will, okay? So it is a little bit based on evidence, but it's also based on your experience. Maybe you have seen this situation many times before, and for you it's clear that it probably, or that it could rain. Maybe the chances are 80%, okay? And then you'll say it probably will rain. You won't say it probably is going to rain. You say it probably will rain, okay? So let's move on. Let's go to the cases where we use will, okay? So let's move on. Okay, there we go. So we use will, okay? Unlike to decisions which were made before, like in the example I showed you here with the trip, for spontaneous Spontaneous decisions, okay? Let's have a look. There you go. Okay. So, imagine you're out with your friend. You went out for a couple of beers. You're at the table in a restaurant. And that's you sitting here, and that's your friend. And you say that, oopsie, I forgot my wallet. So you have no money to pay for the drinks, okay? So, of course, you know, you have to pay for stuff. Everybody has to pay for or we should pay for things, alright? So here's your beer, and there's your friend's beer, and, well, maybe your friend had 2 or 3 beers. This is not important right now, but he'll say right now in this moment, he just found out that you don't have your wallet because you informed your friend, and your friend says, no problem, I will pay, okay? So this is a spontaneous, this is a spontaneous decision. Alright, it's a spontaneous decision. And he made the decision right now because he didn't know that that you forgot your wallet. Okay, let's imagine the situation where, for example, you told him before you came to the restaurant that you don't have your wallet, and let's say the waiter comes and asks, okay, who's paying? And then you made the decision before, and he would say, I am going to pay, okay, because you already informed them before you came to the restaurant, and the waiter asks, and the decision had been made before, okay, by your friend. So in this case, you would be used going to. But here, he just found out about it, and it's will, okay? Alright, so then in the other case, what else do we have? We have, alright, we have, we use will, okay? We use will. We use will for situations based on an opinion or something that we think is sure to be in the future, okay? On here, imagine, let's imagine that your friend had, I don't know, he had maybe some kind of child here, okay? Your friend has, or maybe it's you, this could be you, or your husband, and here he's with the baby, and he's happy with the baby. I think he's going to be a good father. He looks like he could be a good father. And here's the baby. Maybe he's hungry or something, or he doesn't look too happy. I mean, let's put some red eyes in there. Maybe it's going to be an evil, angry baby. I don't know. Okay, but that's not important. But what's important here is that the wife, or here's his wife, let's say, and here's the sister. That's the sister, or the wife's sister, and she says he will be a good father, okay? So that's her opinion, she knows him, and she's kind of sure about it. And of course the wife says, oh, I know, he's very kind, he loves children, etc. So in this case, when we think this is a true fact about the future, you can use will, okay? Let's put a point right there. If you want to point here, since I'm an English teacher, I should get that right. Okay, so, and then there's also some other instances when we use will, okay? So let's look at the other ones, okay? Just a moment. Let's get this in here. Okay. So, for example, in other instances, or in other possibilities, or other situations, we use the future will when we believe something or think something might be true or might not be true, okay? For example, with the word hope, yes, or think, yes. So actually these things here, these words already indicate that something is, you know, smaller than 100%, okay? It's smaller than 100%, so 1 to 99%, for example, right? I hope we'll make it on time, okay? And I hope I'll make it on time. I'll show you what I mean by that. Imagine this is This is Anne. Anne is driving to the party with her husband. This is Peter. So Peter and Anne are in the car, and this is showing their car, where it is, and it's in a, where is it? It's in a, do you know what we call this? When there's many cars stacked up or in a row on the road, that is a traffic jam, okay? So they're stuck in a traffic jam. And they're on the way to a party, and there might be a possibility that they will be late for this party, okay? Because they have to wait in this traffic jam. And then Anne says, I hope we won't be late, okay? Hope we won't be late, okay? And don't forget, won't is the same as will not. Alright, so she could say, I hope we will not be late, or I hope we won't be late. Alright, and here you have the word hope, right? As I told you before. So there's also other words that we use there instead. For example, there we go, believe. Alright, believe, or yeah, I think there's some other ones, but I think you're going to have to look those up. So here she has the hope, yes, I hope I can visit you next year, yes, things like that, where you have the hope, or I think we will be able to make it. I hope we will be able to make it to your party next week, or I hope I will be able to pass my exam, okay? So these are other examples, and that shows you that when we're hoping, or we think, or believing something's not 100% sure, we will use will, okay? So, okay, so there's one more instance where I would like to show you where we use will or going to, okay? Or let's say, oops, that wasn't supposed to happen. Alright, there we go. Alright. So, when we're looking at the weather forecast, alright, you'll have some dude, okay, he's going to talk about the weather, and very often they say it will rain, and you're now thinking, hey, wait a minute, you just said that if we have evidence that something would happen, and this looks like evidence to me, then we're going to use going to, okay? So here's my case, okay? I think that very often native speakers, they mix up will with going to, alright? I think, and I'm pretty sure most native speakers don't know the rule on this. But what you will hear when you listen to a weather forecast, you will hear them use will, and you will also hear them use going to, okay? And very often people, native speakers, or in this case the weather forecaster, he will use it interchangeably. So he will make no distinction between these two, alright? So, you know, if you use will, sometimes you use going to. If you misuse it, don't be stressed about it, because, you know, native speakers, they get it wrong, and I think you shouldn't be worried about it too much. But as you see, sometimes the weather forecast will say it will be 22 degrees, or it's going to be 22 degrees. This is up to the person talking then most of the time, and as I said, it's not used very strictly. So that's it on will versus going to. I hope that was helpful, and maybe you will be able to use it in the future. Alright, so there you go.